Pigeon poops on my window, me knowing what pigeons did during WW1. Is this some reference to, the letter system or something? Carrying around notes? I'm honored to have your poop on my window. That feeling when you pressed a little button at work and now toxic radiation is spreading all over Europe.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Yep, accurate. Oh, yep, Sweden's gonna find out about this. Wasn't Sweden the one that found out? Yeah, this clip's never gonna not be funny. Wow. I didn't know it was that bad. Iberia's over here nice and safe, though. India introduces curry to the rest of the world. Rest of the world makes beef curry. Yeah, this is kind of like a whole slap in the face to them, isn't it? During a White House dinner on April 20th, 1933, Amelia Earhart took Eleanor Roosevelt to a nearby airfield, still in dinner attire, and went on spontaneous flight to Baltimore. Hey, wanna ditch these losers and go for a joyride in my plane? Okay, LMAO! Sounds like the plot of a movie. And who knows what they did up there on this date of all. The Mongols burning Baghdad was such a tragedy. Well, maybe they shouldn't have put it within pillaging distance in the first place, you goofy MF. Seriously, just imagine building a civilization thousands of miles from Mongolia. You're still within the splash zone. Spent many afternoons playing chess against himself, with books as his only friends. His kitten, Fatima, was carried off by a hawk. Osmond was crippling shy around women. Ah, the average Redditor. So that's what this episode was based off of. You're a court gesture for Francis I of France. Perfect name for France. You make a joke that goes too far. The joke sentences you to death, but lets you choose the method of execution. You respond, good sire. By the Sainty Goody Two-Shoes and Saint Fatty, patrons of insanity, I ask to die of old age. Ultimate troll move. Just a little bit of trolling. And that joke actually worked. Instead of being executed, he made Francis laugh and chose to just banish him from the realm instead. You don't gotta go home, but you gotta get the frick out of here. Samurai masks, meant to be ugly, frightening, and demonic. Meanwhile, Balkan people. Whenever I go to the Balkans, if everyone doesn't look this exact way, I don't care if you're like 19 years old, you better look like this. Simon is called Simon. Jesus. Hello, Peter. Ultimate Chad move, just giving out nicknames. Who here knows that Andrew Johnson was impeached? Oh, I know that. Who here actually knows what he was impeached for? It's the biggest American mystery. I guess he tried to fire some cabinet officer without consulting the Senate. It's that simple. Polish people bawling into this person's shoulder, but that's not any person. That's Napoleon declaring the Duchy of Warsaw in 1807. Oh, they're crying out of happiness, aren't they? Finally, some good news from this country. Me calling Americans stupid, knowing damn well that everything I know about history is from American historians or YouTubers. Well, that's still better what I'm doing, just learning from the memes only. You have married the King of England and become pregnant. It's a girl. I think I know who she married. You get pregnant again, but miscarry, a boy. Rumors are spreading about you being a witch and poisoning the king's ex-wife. You suffer several more miscarriages. The king is now sleeping with one of your maid of honors. Your former ally and friend conspires with your husband to put you on trial. You are found guilty for treason, adultery, and incest, and sent to... Oh, incest. I would be found guilty too. Wait. A product. You are executed and the king marries his mistress. That is depressing. Oh wait, your daughter later becomes queen, ruling over 40 years, her reign considered a golden age in English history. Yep, that's what I thought. Anne here, unfortunately, married King Henry VIII, and there's just a lot to say about him. I'm so shocked it was 6 marriages. The US dropping 2 nukes on it. Were you killed? USS Nevada. Sadly, yes, but I lived. What? Was this on accident? Basically, this ship survived WW1, WW2, it survived being attacked by the Japanese at Pearl Harbor. It was even hit by a torpedo and a few bombs at one point. So after World War II, the US figured if anyone was gonna sink it, it would be them. So in the Bikini Atoll, they decided they were gonna drop a nuke on it just for giggles, basically. It survived 1 nuke, and then they decided to do it again. Insanely, it survived that one too. It's basically the boat version of this guy. When everyone makes fun of you for switching sides, but at least you didn't finish the war, split in 2, or atom bombed. At least like that one friend, no matter how many dumb things they do to you, you just can't help but forgive them. White girls, all Europeans are dirty colonizers. Meanwhile, Eastern Europeans, the Balkans, and Ireland. We can kind of include all of Switzerland too. Dante describing each of his enemies burning in the inferno. Tap, tap, tap. Literally hashtag goals for all the fan fiction writers out there. His work was so good it became lore. No, Germany walking Czechoslovakia. Hey, you're not gonna slaughter that Czechoslovakia here, are you, says Britain? Not to worry, I have a permit. This just says I do whatever I want. Too bad this meme doesn't show Britain is gonna be totally fine with that too. Modern military veterans, we need you to patrol again. I think I have PTSD. Not my problem. Ancient military veterans, peace is boring. Let's invade Italy. We're not going to invade our own land. plan, dummy? What if we make you emperor? Oh, you don't say. That sounds good. The year is 2022. Mom, look, a plane. The year is 1945. Mom, look, a plane. Interesting how planes literally only meant death and destruction back then. The inventor of Vaseline was such a firm believer in its medical properties that he claimed to have eaten a spoonful of it a day. Sometime in the 50s, he ordered his nurse to cover him from head to toe in the substance, and he soon recovered from whatever this is. Grease me up, woman. Okie dokie. He lived to be 96 years old. I delivered that as if it was a joke. That was not a joke. And the employee at Target has the audacity to look at me weird when I buy 12 jars of Vaseline. Court gesture, juggles and makes a boob joke at the same time. European kings. I want to say as a court gesture, I myself probably could have survived till 96 as well. As long as I was only juggling 2 things. Guy Fawkes, choosing an alias before blowing at Parliament. Carefully choosing a normal sounding name that would not arouse suspicion. Now, how about John Johnson? I don't know, seems good to me. Step 1, support a colony uprising against your rival Britain. Step 2, win. Step 3, several of your colonies are now revolting and becoming independent. 4, the USA backstabs you and takes the last of your holdings in America, ensuring the destruction of your legacy in the New World and profaning everything you once stood for. So not only did the US kind of cause all those revolts in France, but in Spain as well. They definitely would have helped the British if they knew all this. Rare photo of the 1940 Tour de France. This event was just a lot more interesting back then, I will say that. Pop culture going all ooh-woo for the Vikings. Other cultures accused of only stealing, destroying, and doing bad things to other people. Yet for some reason, some civilizations get a complete pass. But the really big one that comes to mind is Mongolia. I mean, let's be real. I mean, Genghis Khan is thought to have reduced world population by 11%, and we're all just like, lol. Death of famous generals. Alexander being oofed by disease after conquering Persia. Caesar assassinated by his friends after conquering Gaul and winning the Civil War. Pyrrhus oofed by a tile thrown by an old lady after conquering absolutely nothing. Haha, tile go fshh. Yeah, that's not a good look. Germany inflation 1923, almost 30,000% versus Hungary's inflation in 1946. Love that inflation's coming back. Let's see if we can break a whole new record in 2022. Her, I bet he's thinking about other women. Him, how the frick did the Roman Empire survive for 1,500 years without a standard succession system? They were just out here randomly picking people. Battle of Camel, Egypt. It was an attack with camels, mules, and horses, similar to the medieval battles on February 2nd, 2011? This doesn't sound like it was 2011. Demonstrators in the square of Cairo were trying to be forced out. Protesters thinking they've won because the riot police pulled back. Pro-regime thugs preparing to make a medieval-style cavalry charge. How is this event just now being brought to my attention? Admiral Yamamoto, looking off into fear, as 16 P-38 Lightnings who knew exactly where he'd be, when he'd be there, and how many escorts he'd brought with him. This isn't gonna end well, is it? This is referring to Operation Vengeance in 1943, and oh yeah, they definitely got him. So that was the thing. The Anglo-Saxon mercenary who's come to Constantinople to participate in his first crusade. The Norwegian noble he fought at Stamford Bridge. What? That was actually a thing? Those crusades were bringing some very strange people together. I guess one of the final surviving Vikings did actually go on crusade. Hilter, after becoming chancellor, making a hit list of people in the SA he doesn't like anymore. He didn't necessarily have the death note, but it basically functioned the same way. When the tribal system shaman casts a curse on your army, but you have a Gatling gun. Crazy how often Gatling guns just like defeat curses. Our founding fathers wouldn't recognize the America we live in today. They'd be horrified, and rightfully so. The founding fathers. You freed the what? Yeah, they'd be in for a little surprise. Oh crap, I took both pills, and now I'm stuck in between Caesar's wall and the battle of, oh, well, this would be a good lesson for you. You'll never do that again. American revolutionaries in the afterlife, looking at Algeria 178 years later. Didn't really expect to see you here. Remember how Algeria had to fight France when France helped America. Invading Russia. Russia with their Russian winters. No, Germany and France. Let's not forget Sweden. Everyone forgets Sweden did the same thing. It just doesn't apply to the Mongols. Infrastructure exists. General Sherman. And I took that personally. I guess this guy destroyed billions of dollars worth of infrastructure during the Civil War. Oh, that is adjusted though. Man, oh man, I sure love patrolling the Alps during the Second Punic War. Hold up. Is that frickin' elephants? Oh, Mars. I'm sorry, but that must have been a terrifying sight. Elephants in an environment like this is just not natural. The Confederate Army building a submarine. I think I forgot something. The H.L. Hunley. If you forgot, then it wasn't important. Yeah, you're probably right. Oh yeah, to be fair, I feel like that's something kind of easy to forget. You're so focused on getting down there and staying down there, you don't know how you're gonna get back up. They're not loot boxes, they're surprise mechanics. I haven't heard this one in a long time. And this is not colonization, it is assisted industrialization. Oh, that is an interesting way to put it. Mongols, after creating peace in their homeland of Mongolia, now everything is perfect. It's all quiet and everything. Stephen King writing a horror story to symbolize addiction and the feeling of being chained to one type of genre. Harlan Ellison channeling his anger to write a horror story about a dystopian future that awaits humanity as they destroy themselves. Finally, H.P. Lovecraft, oh god, writing a horror story about air conditioning. What fun inspiration. Me and the homies on our way to our sister's boyfriend after he texted her, send dudes. About to D-Day this man's Normandy. Wilhelm II when his grandfather and father both get oofed in 1888. Also Wilhelm when he becomes Kaiser as a result in 1888. I feel like a lot of monarchs can relate to this. I mean, at least he was kind of sad in the beginning. A lot of the times they're just acting like this. Choose one side, pro-industrial revolution or anti-industrial revolution. Not a day goes by I think of the many consequences of this. Ted Kaczynski be like, I guess you guys aren't ready for that just yet, but your kids are gonna love it. Him fixing his tie after he like bombs several post offices. Film set in ancient Rome starter pack. Literally nothing happened after AD 180 because it looks cool. Sensationalism. Greece, Rome, what's the difference? Research, a very short introduction. Accuracy doesn't sell. That's the line they go with for every historical film they do. Americans want to ignore the world and do business. Teddy Roosevelt, you're going to be a global superpower and like it. That's some big stick energy. Everyone just wants to be liked and accepted, except for Tim. Tim wants to be in West Berlin. Well, he's definitely going about it in the right way. Seems like a fun little adventure you could have done. The CIA, after finally banishing the spectrum of socialism from South America. Finally democracy brought to the Western Hemisphere. No Germans escaping to Argentina to avoid prosecution. No Americans in Brazil who did the same exact thing. Howdy, new neighbor. I think this would have been way more hilarious if they were like, hola, new neighbor, since they probably wouldn't know they speak Portuguese. What is hello in Portuguese? I would suck if it's
hola.
Oh. What you think Zelda was like 20 years ago versus what Zelda was actually like 20 years ago. Oh. This stuff is actually just terrifying. Mongols bring a new chemical called gunpowder into Europe. Europe 100 years later. And this is how we came up with Star Wars as well. Thank you, Mongolia. Now we know which place to credit. And big thanks to I Stole Drew's Pet Dog, I Love Marx, Drew's Arab Sugar Daddy, LuxembourgLover, King Corey, Drew's Argentinian Grandpa, Canadian Union, Dalton D, BringBackPolandball, Barnsky W, AryanAfterHours, Fat Norwal, Alfonso M6, Ivan Lima, Majestic Unicorn, Michael, Max Cooper, McBlorf, Mimo Shiki, Mind Brothers 999, Robert Philip R. and Rye the Pie,